Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Everything is Bad New Fangled Motion Picture Show.
Welcome one and all to another episode of the Everything is Bad New Fangled Motion Picture Show. I'm your host, Nile.
And I'm Nolan.
And today we're going to be reviewing the latest in the Perotverse.
Perotverse?
The Perot cinematic universe.
Oh, okay.
Death on the Nile. Sequel to
Murder on the Orient Express.
Right, when did that one come out? I was gonna say, sequel to like 2016's whatever, 2017's Murder on the Orient Express.
Well, this was delayed like 2 years though, right?
Yeah, was it? I don't know if it was 2 years, but it was definitely delayed a long time, because of COVID reasons. It got delayed long enough that some actors got to make all some social media faux pas and stuff came out about it. We're not here to talk about that. We're not here to talk about
Eating habits.
The like weird fetishes of and eating habits of shoot, why can't I remember his name?
Armie Hammer.
Armie Hammer, thank you. Because I don't really know enough of that whole story to talk about it anyway. But so yeah, we're gonna do a spoiler-free review and then give you a spoiler warning and get more in depth into it after that. Because there's a spoiler. It's a murder mystery. Of course, there's a spoiler.
Yeah.
So
although you called it fairly early on.
I did. So I'm gonna adjust my mic here. Hopefully that didn't make like too much crazy noise. Yeah. So this movie it's based off an Agatha Christie novel published in the 30s. Part of the series of novels about Hercules Parrot.
Poirot? I don't know.
Anyway, he's Belgian. Who knows how you're supposed to say it? And so I had never read this one. Everyone reads some Agatha Christie in high school, right? When you do your section in lit class in high school.
I think we read not a full book, but an abridged or a segment or maybe a short story or something.
Yeah.
In school.
Do you remember which one that would have been?
I don't.
Yeah, I can't remember. It definitely wasn't Death on the Nile, though. So that being said, and having not seen...
The one everyone's heard of is Murder on the Orient Express.
Right. And so having not read or seen any of the other adaptations of this, because there's been
there's one in the 70s, I know that.
Yeah, there's been a few. So having not consumed this story in any way, I was able to call it, maybe a third of the way in, quarter of the way in?
Yeah, more like a quarter. I don't think it was as far as a third.
So we'll go over more of that in the spoiler section, though. But yeah, so this movie does. It's a fine movie. Kind of like Murder on the Orient Express. I don't remember exactly what we had to say about it, but as I recall about it, it was fine. It was a decent enough movie.
Yeah.
There's a weird choice they made in this one. Like the geography doesn't make sense.
Oh.
So
as far as the relation of the pyramids to the river Nile?
Yeah, so the pyramids are on the bank of the Nile in the movie.
Which is not the case in real life.
No, there's actually quite a bit of city. I don't know. What did I say?
It's a few miles, probably.
Yeah, a couple miles, I think. Mile and a half, something like that. It's close enough that if you're on top of the pyramid, you can absolutely see the river. But it's in the movie, Poirot's sitting out there in front of the Sphinx, gazing upon its majesty or whatever, and then he turns around and the river's right there.
Yeah, well, it shows this aerial shot, right? And it's
you're whoa. They've been doing some.
And it's 100 feet from the.
Yeah, they've been doing some. They've been doing some. What's it called? Where you shift the direction of a river.
Redirection?
I don't know. I thought there was a word for that. Anyway, But other than that, the thing is, like, that was a weird choice to me because there wasn't a storytelling reason for it. This isn't a spoiler. This is like, I mean, it takes place
In Egypt.
in Egypt. It's going to involve the pyramids of the Nile River. Come on, it's in the name, Death on the Nile. So, yeah, that was just a weird choice.
Something else that excuse me. Something else that Perot purists might have umbrage with, I understand, is there's a prologue that shows Perot fighting in World War One. This is not something I guess that was ever, like, his history is never brought up in the books, and so this backstory was invented for the movie, and I guess some people don't like that.
I mean, look, you gotta figure he's Belgian, right?
Yeah.
Belgian from, and he's like in his 40s during the 30s. Yeah, he will have fought in the Great War. Right?
Yeah.
Like, there's no way around that. Of course he did.
Yeah.
So it seems like a weird thing to get upset about. But here's the thing is, I thought it actually really added to it.
I don't know that they're upset that he fought in the Great War, but they're upset that this backstory was created for the movie.
Right, but
it was always sort of a mystery. Like, it could be assumed, yeah, but you don't know for certain.
Yeah, but the thing is, Perot, without that backstory, is a very one-dimensional, boring character.
Mm.
Really, I mean, in the way he is, maybe you could have gotten away with that without explanation back then. I don't know, but like, people kind of expect a little more character development, I guess.
Well, I was talking to a friend of ours yesterday about the movie and that aspect, and he's read all of Agatha Christie and Sherlock Holmes. He's like, Holmes is the same way.
Yeah.
There's not any backstory to him. And that might have been more common at the time, or maybe just the authors didn't find it applicable to the actual story they're trying to tell, or what.
Yeah.
But it's much the same, I guess.
Yeah. But yeah, and so I mean, like I said, the movie was fine. There was a couple of visual effects shots that were questionable.
Well, I think it was a budgetary thing.
Yeah.
I think this movie, I don't have the budget information in front of me here, but I'm guessing it's a fairly small budget. We'll call it a modest budget based off of, I don't think the previous movie, it did well enough to garner a sequel, but not well enough for them to throw a bunch of money at it.
Yeah. I think this one it's got a 6.7 on IMDb right now. I don't know if it deserves something that low. I would have given it probably a 7.
Also, if you look at the cast, well, a lot of well-known people, they're not people that demand a lot of money, whereas if you look at the cast in the previous one, I think Judi Dench was in there, and Willem Dafoe.
See here. Oh yeah, Willem Dafoe, Judi Dench, Penelope Cruz.
Right, actors that probably get a little bit more money on average than the cast in Death on the Nile. Like I said, there are a lot of well-known names in there, but they're not names that like you expect to.
Yeah, like
When's
the last time Armie Hammer was?
Last thing I remember seeing him in was Man from U.N.C.L.E. Or did that come out before or after Lone Ranger? One of those two movies is the last thing I saw him in.
Yeah, I think it was after.
That I recall. My guess is the biggest name on there, other than probably Kenneth Branagh's getting like double paycheck for being star and director. But I can't think of her name. So Gal Gadot.
Oh yeah,
is probably the biggest name on there, and only because of her recent work with DC.
So just like scrolling down, he was in Hotel Mumbai. It was like the last sort of big thing
I
he was in.
didn't see that though.
He was in Cars 3 as Jackson Storm.
Okay.
I don't remember much of Cars 3 except that
I liked it better than Cars 2.
Yeah.
We did review it, didn't we?
Probably. It was 2017. How long have we been doing this? Have we been doing this for 5 years?
Yeah. And we're on like 176 episodes now, so yeah.
He was in The Birth of a Nation. We didn't see that though.
Well, anyway,
Man from U.N.C.L.E. was the last thing you and I would have seen him in.
okay.
That we would have really remembered. That was after Lone Ranger, yeah.
Okay. So anyway, yeah. So like I said, I think this movie probably had a smaller budget than the previous one, and so that can explain some of the visual effects. That, yeah, there were a few here and there, just like, well, it's kind of an obvious effect. Nothing as like garish or
Yeah, like
still better than like early.
Yeah, that
CG effects.
sandstorm was kind of rough.
It's only in there for a minute.
Yeah, it wasn't very long, but the lighting felt weird.
Yeah,
in that
maybe
because it was like
really
clearly
remember.
just like a dimmed down like regular sunlit exterior shot. So
yeah, shooting day for sunblocked. Well, anyway, yeah, I think the movie's all right though. If you're at all interested, I recommend seeing it. I don't really have any complaints about the movie.
Yeah, I mean, there's some of the acting that seemed a little, I guess I was reading some reviews of it and saw some people complaining about Annette Bening's performance.
Who was she?
Euphemia Bauch?
Oh, that's Book's mother.
Book, right. Oh yeah, Bauch Book. Yeah,
it's pronounced Book.
That's right.
She did in a few parts kind of chew the scenery, especially when she was just like distraught about something.
Russell Brand I thought was fine.
Yeah. I'm not used to seeing him in like serious roles.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's a fine movie. It's whatever. Like, I'm not a huge like Poirot fan or Agatha Christie fan to speak of, so
I do like mysteries though.
Yeah.
And period pieces.
Yeah, I'm big on period pieces, so
especially in that imperialist colonialist area.
that like from like the late 1800s through like the interwar period.
Yeah.
That like colonial era.
You like look at this whole thing's like takes place in Egypt, but almost everyone there is obviously European.
Yeah, because that was the thing. Is the thing rich Europeans did in that time period was vacation to Egypt. It was huge at the time. So, it's not that we're like pro that or anything. Just it's an interesting
it's an interesting time period, especially when you get into the geopolitical stuff. It's not something that's like covered a lot in school, so when you like learn about it, it's kind of interesting.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. You got anything to say about this without spoiling anymore?
Not really. I liked it well enough that I would recommend it to anyone who's interested in it.
I liked it well enough that I'll see a third one, whatever's next. She did a bunch of these, right? Agatha Christie?
Yeah.
So I would recommend it. Yeah, like I said, or I would go see a third one if they decide to do that. I don't know. Yeah. I was just gonna look up how many of these books there were. So, there was apparently the film, TV, and theatrical adaptations. So I guess there was a stage play adapted by Agatha Christie. Yeah, there's a film in the 70s, and a radio drama, a television adaptation, a computer game, a hidden object PC game, released in 2007. Interesting. A graphic novel, and this. So I guess this is only the second movie adaptation of this story. I thought there was a lot more.
I don't know.
Anyway, yeah, I don't know. The information is not coming up like super quick here, so I guess we'll go on to our spoiler section.
Yeah, spoiler warning.
Henceforth, are spoilers. Be aware, because it is a murder mystery. Obviously, there are spoilers. So yeah, the thing that I called like pretty early on is that Army Hammer, his character, and the girl he's engaged to at the beginning actually were colluding together to murder.
Yeah, so in the beginning, Army Hammer's character is engaged to this woman, and she introduces him to Gal Gadot's character. And the next we see them, he's dumped the first woman and is married to Gal Gadot. And they're being stalked by the first woman who's jealous.
Yeah.
But you called it that really the two of them are working together to kill Gal Gadot's character and get her inheritance.
Yes.
Which, yeah, it was pretty obvious from the get-go. Because they want to make it look like the obvious red herring is just that woman on her own.
Right.
And then, of course, because it's the type of story it is, every single person aboard that ship
has
a motive to murder her.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean that's pretty typical Agatha Christie parlor mystery. Well, I mean that's just like that's parlor mystery in general. Like everyone involved has to have a motive. Yeah, everyone involved has to be a suspect. Yeah, like Clue. So yeah, and I think I don't know. Like before they were even done with the wedding, I leaned over and I was like, "So here's what happened."
Yeah. Yeah, that was pretty obvious.
And
once you mentioned that, I was like, yeah, that's got to be it.
Like, and there wasn't anything specific that turned me on. Like, that turned me on to that. It's just like
the sort of thing.
It's the sort of thing, yeah.
Yeah, that winds up in these stories. Yeah.
Unlike like Murder on the Orient Express, the first time, because I'm pretty sure I had read that or had that read to me at some point. But the first time I remember hearing this story or whatever, that did come as a surprise to me. The whole like, oh, everyone. Spoilers for a movie that's been out for 5 years or 6 years or whatever. But the whole like, oh, everyone.
Wasn't like everyone made an attempt.
Everyone was working together.
That's what it was. Everyone was working together for.
Yeah. Like, so the first time I went through that story, that actually was a surprise to me. And I was like, oh, that's neat. That's a neat surprise.
Mm.
But yeah, I mean, I don't really have anything else to say about this movie.
No, not really.
It's fine. It is nothing. There's nothing like.
It's one of those movies that's not.
It's not particularly bad, remarkable so we don't have one way or the other.
Yeah, it's not remarkable. It's not bad, so we don't have anything to complain about, and it's not like amazing, so we don't have anything to gush over.
Yeah.
It's a perfectly serviceable film.
Serviceable film. That's an awesome review. Oh man! So the next movie we're gonna see is Uncharted. Because we're in like be warned, we're huge fans of the video game series, so like we're probably gonna have a lot to say about that.
Yeah.
But also next weekend is The Outfit, which looks interesting. Yeah. If you like thrillers.
Yeah, that's the one where the guy's like the tailor or something. It was a tailor shop or something, and there's like mob stuff keeps happening like in his.
Well, he's a drop point.
Right,
for, like
so,
mob payments.
Yeah, that's
and then he's gets drug into this something, and he's like, I'm not supposed to be involved. That's the deal.
Yeah.
So then, after that, the next thing we're gonna see though, in beginning of March is The Batman, which I'm actually kind of excited to see, just because I want to see the Riddler done well.
Instead of just being a joke.
I wanted. There was a rumor floating around for a while that the third Christopher Nolan movie was going to be the Riddler.
Yeah, I had heard that he actually wanted it to be the Riddler because it'd be a good psychological thriller if done well.
Right, and Christopher Nolan, that's in his wheelhouse.
Right. But I think his brother was like the writer on all those films, and his brother, wrote what he wrote.
Oh man, but without Bane being in it though, we wouldn't have had the memes.
Right.
So, you win some, you lose some.
Yeah. Double-edged sword.
Yeah, so I mean, I always thought that the Riddler, like I said, would be a really neat villain if written really well. The direction it looks like they're taking it in the trailer, he seems kind of Jigsaw-y, so I don't know if that's the way I would have taken it, but the movie's 175 minutes long, by the way.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, because it also has the Penguin in it.
So it's just like 2 Batman movies.
I don't know how much the Penguin is like in it though. I mean, it could be like he just deals with him early on in the movie, and then we don't see him again.
I mean, we'll see, I guess.
Sort of an introductory thing. It definitely feels like the Riddler stuff is the main focus.
Yeah, and it also has Catwoman in it,
who, right away from the trailer is not meant to be a villain.
Right.
An anti-hero, sure, but
yeah,
they definitely team up. It's right there in the trailer.
But then, so towards the end of March though is The Lost City, which looks pretty funny actually.
Yeah, what was funny is when I saw that trailer, I thought at first I was getting an Uncharted trailer, like for like half a minute, or not even that long, for like a few seconds. Then I saw it was Channing Tatum, and I was like, oh, never mind. This is The Lost City.
Yeah. Yeah. So in April is Sonic 2. Did they? Yeah. I don't know. It's a weird choice to me that Sonic and Tails aren't already friends.
Yeah, but then I know the way the setup was in the first movie though for Sonic.
Yeah. Also in April is The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. Not gonna get into it. I will say Nicolas Cage plays Nicolas Cage, and you should go watch the trailer. But it looks phenomenal.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what we got coming up, like for the next few months. So if any of that sounds of interest to you, come back, check that stuff out. Check out our last review, which was
Matrix.
It's been a minute since we've done a review.
It has. We also saw Jackass Forever. Not
going
to bother reviewing because there's no plot or anything. It's just
Jackass.
It's just Jackass.
It's funny. Go see it. Like if you don't mind like crude humor, go see it.
And male nudity.
Yeah.
And some blood.
Yeah. Yeah. So like if you don't mind that stuff, go check it out. We laughed.
Yeah.
We ha-ha'd.
Little chortle here and there.
Yeah, a little chortle. Every once in a while, you need some sophomore humor in your life.
Maybe a guffaw.
Yeah. Yeah, every once in a while, you need some sophomore humor in your life. So, but yeah, we're like once we get through March, like the release timing picks up. June 24th, Transformers: Rise of the Beasts.
What? I didn't even know about that.
Ew. It says 2023 though in parentheses. What does this mean? It's got Ron Perlman in it.
All right. It's directed by Michael Bay.
No. It's directed by Stephen Capel Jr. I don't know. That's news to me. I had no idea that was happening. So, we'll probably see that and rip it apart.
Oh, maybe it's got Ron Perlman. Then what if it's part of a Pacific Rim shared universe? And he plays what's his character's name?
Oh,
Hannibal Chow.
Hannibal Chow. So It's directed by the guy who directed Creed 2. Anyway, yeah, I'm blown away. I learned something new today, Nolan.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, if any of that sounds of interest to you, come back and check those reviews out when we drop them. Go check out our last review for The Matrix 4. Matrix Resurrections.
Is it even still in theaters?
Probably not. I don't. No, I think there was a showing when we were there the other day.
All right. All right.
One showing, like one theater out of 16.
I'm thinking back on a review, and I think I was like, might have been more generous to it than it deserves.
Yeah, like you let it simmer for a bit, and you think back on it, and you're like, no, that was a bad movie.
Yeah, I think I was more generous to it than it deserves. And as I recall, though, I was more generous in the first half because once we got to the spoiler portion, we started to tear into it. Then I was like,
you're like, wait a minute, this was a bad movie.
Right? Yeah.
Hold on a minute.
Wait a tick. Anyway,
we need to submit an amended review.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyway, until next time. Thanks for listening.
So long.
Bye.